Right, let's check in on Die Adler, on SGE, on the Eagles of Frankfurt. Now they were going into a game with St. Pauli, last game of the season, by the way, at the Wahlstadion. They need ideally a win, but they need just 2 more points from the last 2 games to lock in a Champions League berth for next season. And St. Pauli, similarly, they only need, well, technically it's another point that would retain their status, their survival status in the Bundesliga for another year. So a lot riding on this outcome. Just quickly I'm laughing at our prediction, which Gonzo must have been on the mushrooms that afternoon. 4-1 he had this game down as a home win. 4-1. Anyway, let's check in on the starting lineups for the 2 teams. So with Die Adler under Dino Topmuller, son of legendary manager Klaus. 3-4-2-1 formation. Kevin Trapp in goal. You'd love to see it. He's 34. It's just checking his stats. We can all look together. Look, you see, he's approaching 400 competitive games for Frankfurt. Look, he's on the 382 mark. 553 goals conceded. That seems a lot. And fascinating, he once played for PSG. Look, anyway, Kevin Trapp. He's 34. Now they did bring in. I'm just going to jump around. They were jumping here to Eintracht Frankfurt's English Twitter page. Thank the Lord, so we can all get involved. Now, SGE did bring in Cal Santos. Now, he's supposed to be the future goalkeeping option for Frankfurt. It's likely that Kevin Trapp will play for another year. Anyway, as you can see here, both Nathaniel or Nene Brown and Cal Santos, both in the nominations for the Bundesliga's Rookie of the Year. And you can vote via this link. We'll put that in the description so we can all spread the love. There you go. There's Nathaniel Brown. There's Cal Santos, the Brazilian. There's Michael Olise. Something tells me that Michael Olise might well win this vote. Anyway, Kevin Trapp, back in goal. You love to see it. A back 3 of the Belgian Arthur Thete with that very distinct a mop of sort of brownish, I don't know, I'm not colourblind, but big hair, anyway, big hair in a bun, alongside Robin Koch and the Brazilian Tuta. You got a midfield for wing-backs on either side. Nanny Brown, again, nominated for the Bundesliga Rookie of the Year. Go and get your votes made down below. Nathaniel Brown on the left. Rasmus Christiansen, the Gypsy, on loan from Leeds of the Midlands. Where's he going to be next season? We don't know. Might be travelling around again. And in the middle, you've got this Swede, Hugo Larsson, next to the Ellis Scary, the Tunisian. There's you 2 holding that midfield together. And then you've got Jean-Matteo Bohoya. It was birthday boy last week. Feels like we've rinsed that one. He's on the left alongside Ansgar Knauf. And we'll say it again, and we said it before. He is a wanted man, apparently wanted by Arne Slot of Liverpool. There's a €23 million price tag on his head. And they're all trying to service Hugo Ekitike, former PSG wonder kid, up front with 15 goals so far this season. Goals have been, well, not been really hard to come by, but let's put it this way. Ekite's had to carry a lot on those rather thin shoulders. He's a tall guy though, isn't he? But thin shoulders. Ever since they sold Marmouche to Manchester City, there's been a lot of pressure on this guy. And they did bring in Eli Wahi for Marseille, but he's not really done much, has he? I can confirm that actually. There's Kai Santos. Look, if we look at Frankfurt, I know we're jumping around, but that's the autism. 7 appearances, Eli Wahi, 6 of which off the bench. Not a single goal to his name, nor an assist, just a yellow card. And a 6.07 average. Not great. I suppose he's still got time to learn, right? He's only 22, whereas so is Ekitike. They're both French, they're both 22. You feel like Dino should try them both up front. But anyway, we are jumping around like House of Pain. Let's come back to it. So, talking to House of Pain, it's been a House of Pain to score goals for Alexander BLESSIN all season. I just wanted to highlight that. Here, look. This is the Bundesliga table. This is from the least amount of goals scored to most goals scored. Look at that, Bayern Munich. 95 goals, just 5 short of a gallon Are they going to score 5 in their last game away to Hoffenheim? Feasibly. I mean, Hoffenheim don't keep many clean sheets. In fact, up until, 4 games ago, themselves, Hoffenheim had been on that horrible, tragic, unforgettable, that home record of was it 30? I think it got to 36 games at home without a clean sheet. Ouch. Anyway, Munich have scored 95. St. Pauli, in contrast, have only scored 28. So there's only Bochum, who are also down because they got relegated. Yep, Rise won't thank me for that one. But Bochum are down. They've only got 21. So, yeah, goals have been at a premium this season for St. Pauli. But then again, they don't let many in, do they? In fact, you can look at that. Goals against, look at that. It's the second best defence in the Bundesliga after Bayern Munich. So if only St. Pauli could find a goal scorer, they might not be every season trying to scrap for their lives. Anyway, still no sign of the Socceroo captain Jackson Irvine. G'day, mate. He's still out injured. So you got a debutant in goal, Ben Vol. And I would have loved it if his number was 15 or if they'd conceded 5 because we could have gone with Ben Vol's 5. That would have been the thumbnail, but that didn't happen. Anyway, a 3-4-3 for Alexander BLESSIN. Lars Ritzke, David Nemeth, and the epic Marvel superhero sounding name Hulk Wow. There's your back 3. Philip Trejo, left wing back. Is it Maliolis Saliakis? There you go. I'm assuming he's Greek. Could be Cypriot, but my money's on him being a Greek. And then you've got Eric Schmid, the Swede, next to Carlo Buchhalfer. He scored their first goal. I mean, there hasn't been many, right, as we've proven, but he scored their first goal this season, which probably feels like 5 minutes ago because of the lack of goals they've scored. And then you've got 3 up front, keeping it tight. You've got Morgan Gulivogi on the right. You've got Dapo Afolainen, ex-Bolton Wanderers, on the left. And Daniel Sinani, the Luxembourgian, don't get many of them for a Euro, playing up front. Now, again, our prediction, I'm going to blame it on Gonzo, was 4-1. And this game ended up being 2-2. Rasmus Christensen scoring his second goal in as many games. I believe he's got 4. Yeah, he's got 4 for the season. 2 of them have come in the 2 consecutive games. He scored really early on the first minute. It was a 1-2 with Hugo Larsson in the box. It fell to him. He toe-poked it past Ben Vol for 1-0. That was after 31 seconds. So actually, Gonzo was twitching. He was prodding me, going, "See, our prediction might come true." And he did feel like at that point Frankfurt were going to absolutely wallop St. Pauli 4-1. Well, not necessarily 4-1, but just wallop them. They've scored a lot of goals recently at home. I'm going to prove that to you. Here, look, Frankfurt. So in their last few games, all right, there was a 1-0 with Mainz, but before that, they scored 4 against Leipzig. They've scored 3 at home against Heidenheim. So they do score heavy at home. But that lead only lasted 3 minutes. Manolos Saliakis. Do you know what? Watch this one on YouTube. Ask Jeeves. Go and see if you can recreate it down the park. Morgan Gulivoga was involved. Do you know that? I'm going to skip around, but the second goal which St. Pauli scored, the go-ahead goal, very similar to the first. Frankfurt, Rasmussen, Tuta, Tete, Koch, all getting cut out on the break. Yeah, this was just a long ball up front. And there was an effort to sort of clear it by, I believe it was Tete, actually, the Belgian. Gulivogu gets it on the right side of the box. So we're in the 18-yard box now. There's red lights flashing. And he squares it back to Saliakis. And it was like, he just looked up, saw Trap was off his line. And it was beautiful. Like, it's almost, if you play golf, which we don't, but like a sandwich. Just sandwiched it. Just a beautiful, dainty little chip over Kevin Trapp. That was a 1-0. And like I say, there were chances for Frankfurt. They really put the thrusters on. This combination in midfield of Larsen, Bohoya and Knauf were really feeding Ekitike. But again, Ben Vol, the clearance that he ended up on his backside, it must have gone to the halfway line. And Gulivogu's so quick, he manages to jump over a wild, sort of reckless end-of-season style tackle attempt from Rasmussen. Gully Vogu's then, well, he's one-on-one basically with the keeper with Trapp. There is the challenge that comes in from behind. I think that was SGE, which means he's got to then go round the keeper. The angle's quite acute by this point, and it's getting tighter all the time. He still manages to sweep the ball in for 2-1. And that would have stunned Dino Topmuller, not wearing any sort of top, apart from a white T-shirt. But ultimately, substitutes were made, as you can see in this menu option here. Can Ozan, the young lad, Turkish/German, came on for Tutas. Michy BATSHUAYI, or Michy BATSHUAYI, came on for Bohoya. And Fares Chaibi came on for Skiri. So that's showing attacking intent from those three substitutes alone. And he wasn't long on the... Well, he came on at half-time, I suppose, Michy BATSHUAYI. He did score that important goal. It was a good move as well. Fares Chaibi, who, again, they have such a promising young team at Frankfurt. They just need to keep hold of Ekitike and Brown and Collins and people like that. And if they can squeeze one more year out of Mario Götze, he'll want to be playing the Champions League because that'll be his swan song. One more season from him with that young team. This Frankfurt team could go places next season. And I suppose, side note, if Wirtz does leave Leverkusen and goes to Munich, well, someone's got to challenge Vincent Kompany, right? And it might as well be Frankfurt. Could it be Dortmund? Well, yeah, getting way, way ahead of ourselves. Let's come back to this game. Anyway, yeah, Dino Topmuller wrings his hands and the changes at half-time. And on 71, Fares Chaibi, after a pass from, I suppose you could class that as a goal involvement, really, a progressive ball carrying which led to a goal. Can Ozan finds Fares Chaibi. He's steaming into the area. He spots that Michy BATSHUAYI's got some space. And it was a really intelligent first touch to flick the ball in front of him, put it in his path, and he sweeps it home past Ben Fall 5 to make it 2-2. And there was a late drama in this game as well. There was a goal by Michy BATSHUAYI late on. Do they cover it on the Frankfurt page? I'm sure they do. Yeah, here we go. I just got to scroll down. There you go. What was that? That was on the 88th minute. So BATSHUAYI lashes the ball home, but it came off his hand. It was visible. It was a handball. The defence all was appealing to the assistant referee, and it went to VAR, and it's very quickly overturned. So they thought, the Eagles, the Adler, SGE, thought they'd won it late on, but it wasn't to be. The game finished 2-2, and there was scenes, there was limbs. You should have seen the limbs everywhere from the St. Pauli fans. Alexander BLESSIN and his coaching staff were also enjoying the celebration, because mathematically they are safe, and I will confirm that. If you look at the table, we come down, look, you see Bochum are down, Kiel are down, unfortunately. For their debut season in the Bundesliga, what a great package. We're going to clap that in. I know they've gone down, but Marcel Rapp did say in the run into this, their game, which was, where was it? It was a 2-1 loss to Freiburg. Again, Freiburg are in that, they're in the shout for Champions League as well, along with Dortmund and Mainz. Anyway, where's that gone? We'll come back to the table, sorry. So yeah, Bochum are down, Holstein Kiel, what a performance. Yeah, they've shipped a lot of goals, 77 in fact. Although they have scored 49, they've been very entertaining to watch, Holstein Kiel. Yeah, very entertaining. And then we come back to Frank Schmidt. Always, all roads seem to lead back to Frank Schmidt in Heidenheim. Well, they won in their game. Where's that? Yeah, 3-0 away in the Forest to Union Berlin. A result that I don't think many people would have seen coming, which keeps them alive for this potential, drama-rich playoff relegation game, right? So as it stands then, St. Pauli, mathematically they are safe because their goal difference, I would say, is far superior. It's not, was it really? Mind you, they don't score many. And again, they're very miserly, right? So actually that miserliness, the fact that they've had, well, I know Ben Roll 5 played in goal this game, but Nikolai Vasil, the Bosnian and Herzegovinian keepers, kept things tight for St. Pauli, along with the likes of Van der Heyden and Hawkwal and David Nemeth. They've had a cracking season. So that goal difference has kept them mathematically in the Bundesliga for another year. Then we look at Tom Bischoff. His last game will be against his future club, Munich, on match day 34. Christian Ilz's team have been shipping goals for fun recently. They did draw on Freitag, on the Friday game. They did draw 2-2 away to Wolfsburg in a game that was pretty flat, although they did take the lead. Did they go ahead? Twice in that game, yeah, that's right. So we come down to the last day of the season where it's win or nothing. But if you do finish 16th, like I say, you play that promotion relegation game with the team in the Dritte Bundesliga, yeah, Bundesliga 2. So, and actually, props to Hamburg. They're back in the Bundesliga. Haven't been back for a while, have they? So they've gone up on 59 points. They've gone up. Are they champions? I suppose there's still one game to go, right? It's fascinating. With a game to go in the Bundesliga. No, it's not Dritte, is it? Zweite Bundesliga, that's better. Because it's 2, isn't it? Right, there are still there's 6 teams that could still end up getting promoted to the Bundesliga. Hamburg are confirmed, but they're not quite confirmed as champions because there's still a game to go. There's only a point between them and FC Köln. And then there's Elversberg, Paderborn, Dusseldorf and Kaiserslautern. So those 4 teams are all fighting to effectively end up playing either Heidenheim or Hoffenheim. Now, we made the prediction a while back that this is how the division was going to end up. We reckoned it would be Bochum last, Kiel 17th, and Heidenheim would end up in this playoff game. We were rather hoping it would have been Magdeburg, but they've dropped off sadly, so they're not going to feature this time around. It's another season in the Zweite Bundesliga for them. And the last day of the season is fascinating because Kaiserslautern have got to go to Köln. Again, there's a potential there to end up in this third place, which is the promotion relegation game. Kaiserslautern at Köln. Elversberg, where have they gone? They were away at Schalke. I know, another massive club, right? From the Hamburg region. Not doing anything this year, though, right? So that's Elversberg against Schalke. Dusseldorf away at Magdeburg. And where's Paderborn? Where's Paderborn away at Karlsruhe, who themselves have just missed out because they've run out of steam in the last few games. So there's a lot to be resolved on match day 34. Where St. Pauli, again, mathematically safe. They've got to play Bochum. What do we call that in England? We call that a dead rubber because there's nothing but pride. I mean, there could be a radical swing. We could see Hoffenheim jump above St. Pauli. But again, they're mathematically safe. It's all down on Frank Schmidt and Heidenheim, right? In fact, it's pretty much all decided. So that's fascinating. And Freiburg, is it a straight shootout? I suppose it is in a way. It's a straight shootout to decide who out of Frankfurt, Freiburg and Dortmund are going to finish in 3rd and 4th. So yeah, it's a straight shootout then. Last day of the season where all the games have been played on Saturday, by the way. Saturday, May the 17th. And actually, just side note, if you happen to be in Munich on the 18th in the Mariannaplatz, then you can go and watch Bayern Munich's women and the male team lift their respective Meisterschale trophies. In fact, the Munich women's team won both the DFB Pokal and the Meisterschale, the females Bundesliga. So you can go and watch that on the day after. It's another party time, isn't it? Another party time, another Weiss beer douching for Harry Kane and the legend that is Thomas Muller. That's on the 18th. Anyway, the day before, yeah, straight shootout then. Freiburg at home in the Black Forest. Not too far away from Munich, actually. Playing Frankfurt to decide who finishes 3rd. It could well be all done. But then again, Dortmund, they're still in that. They're involved, right? And who've they got to play? They've got to play Holstein Kiel, already down. So, yeah, match day 34, there's a lot Lot riding on it. Whew. What did you make of all that, by the way? What did you make of the fact that it feels like Die Adler had their wings clipped? Yeah, had their wings clipped there by St. Pauli, but fabulous outcome for Alexander BLESSIN and his St. Pauli team for staying in the Bundesliga for another season. Yeah, exciting. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think will end up playing Heidenheim in the playoff relegation game? Is it going to be one of... Oh, I've got to go back here now. Is it going to be Ellsberg, Paderborn, or Dusseldorf, or even Köln? What do you think? You know the drill. You know to let us know in the comment section down below. Please find it in your heart to like and subscribe, and tell your friends at school, at college, at university, at work, at the bus stop. Just, yeah, you're familiar. Tell everybody. Get everyone to get involved because it's fun, right? And we are on the road to 100k subs. Currently at 60, growing all the time. Please support us. Anyway, we'll get off now. Thanks for being part of it. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.